May 1565. 6,000 men, knights, soldiers, and Maltese townsfolk, stand on the walls of a small island in the middle of the Mediterranean, watching the horizon fill with sails. Nearly 200 Ottoman ships are approaching, carrying what may be 40,000 soldiers. The greatest invasion fleet the Mediterranean has seen in decades. Malta belongs to the Knights of St. John, a religious military order already driven from one island home by this same empire 43 years before. Their Grand Master is Jean Parisot de Valette, 70 years old, and he has one order for every man on these walls. There is nowhere left to retreat to. This is where the line holds, or it does not hold at all.
Hold St. Elmo as long as a single...
The Ottoman commanders decide to strike first at a small star-shaped fort guarding the harbor entrance, Fort St. Elmo. It is meant to fall within days. Valette knows exactly what St. Elmo actually is. Not a fortress to be saved, but time to be bought. Every day it holds is a day the rest of Malta has to prepare. He sends his order across the water to the fort's garrison, and it leaves no room for argument. The bombardment that follows is unlike anything the knights have ever faced. Cannon fire, day and night. Walls crumbling under a barrage heavier than most cities in Europe will ever see. Inside, roughly 150 knights and several hundred soldiers hold a position built for a garrison a fraction that size. And still, St. Elmo doesn't fall. Not in a week, not in two.
Reload and aim higher this time.
Leading the siege in person is Turgut Reis, known to Christian Europe as Dragut, one of the most feared corsair admirals in the Mediterranean, a legend of naval warfare for 40 years. He personally directs the bombardment from the forward trenches, certain the fort will break within days. It is there, walking his own siege lines, that a shot from a defender's cannon finds him. Dragut is carried from the field mortally wounded, and dies before the fort he came to destroy finally falls. His death shakes the Ottoman camp badly, but it does not slow the guns. Assault after assault crashes against St. Elmo's broken walls. The garrison bleeds out, man by man, day by day. And every one of those days is a day Valette's men spend deepening the trenches and raising the walls of Birgu and Sanglea, the two peninsulas where the real fight is coming.
We cannot hold much longer. Send what men you can.
By the fourth week, St. Elmo is barely a fort at all, more a heap of shattered stone, held together by men too stubborn to stop fighting. The garrison sends what may be its final message across the water to Valette.
Hold the line.
On June the 23rd, the walls finally give way. The last defenders fight from the rubble with sword and dagger, until almost none of them are left standing. Fort St. Elmo has held for 31 days against an army that expected to take it in 5. And in doing so, it has bought Valette exactly what he needed. An enemy exhausted, a summer half spent, and 2 fortresses across the harbor, now ready to receive everything the Ottomans have left to throw at them. The cost has been almost the entire garrison, but not a single day of that cost was wasted. The Ottoman army turns its full weight on Birgu and Sanglea, the last strongholds left. Through the height of summer, the guns never truly stop. Mines are dug beneath the walls and detonated. Breaches open in the fortifications again and again, and again and again. They are sealed.
No dialogue needed.
In August, during one of the worst assaults of the entire siege, a section of the wall at Birgu finally collapses, and Ottoman soldiers pour through the gap. Reinforcements are too far away, so the 70-year-old Grand Master picks up a pike himself, puts on his own armor, and walks into the breach at the head of whatever men he can gather.
Allahu Akbar for the cross. Move back. Take this. Give no quarter.
The fighting there is close enough that both sides are fighting hand to hand.
They break.
In the rubble,
The wall for the order.
it holds. Barely, but it holds. Across the water, the Ottoman army is faring little better. Disease, heat, and 4 months away from any hope of resupply are wearing down an army that expected this siege to be over by midsummer. Then, in the second week of September, lookouts on Malta's highest points see something on the horizon that nobody in 4 months has dared hope for. Sails. A relief fleet from Spanish Sicily, small, delayed for months by storms and hesitation, but real, is finally approaching the island. The Ottoman commanders, already exhausted, already having lost thousands of men, to a siege they were told would take weeks, decide the cost of staying no longer makes sense. Within days, the invasion fleet that once blackened the horizon begins loading its remaining soldiers and sailing away. The Great Siege of Malta is over. Nearly 4 months after it began, the island the Ottoman Empire expected to fall, in weeks has not fallen at all. Grand Master Jean Parisot de Valette becomes one of the most celebrated commanders in Europe. He goes on to found a new fortified city on the peninsula his men once defended stone by stone, and names it after himself, Valletta, still Malta's capital today. Voltaire will later write that nothing in history is better known than the Siege of Malta. 6,000 defenders, nearly 4 months, one island that refused to fall, and changed the balance of an entire sea because of it. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe. Every week, we bring you the small battles history almost forgot. Next episode, 1945. A volcanic island in the Pacific. A mountain honeycombed with tunnels, and a garrison that knows no relief is coming, but digs in anyway. The tunnels of Iwo Jima.